There is a play that I think a lot of y'all might know. It is called Waiting for Godot, written by the Irish playwright Samuel Beckett, originally in French. It was then translated into English by its playwright, and it has become one of the most notable hallmarks of the existentialist absurdist movement that descended over continental Europe after the end of World War II, especially in France. Yes, existentialism and absurdism were not confined to France or to the continent, but they found their most eloquent and thoughtful expressions there in France. This is the era of Camus and Sartre, the transference of the tenuous mythic hopes of modernism into the cackling absurdity of postmodernism. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on this play or its context, but it is, to put it very simply, about these two older men, Estragon and Dmitri, waiting for the appearance of this figure called Godot. And Godot never does appear. Someone famously said that it is a play where nothing happens twice. It is two separate sections of a work in which these characters wander around, trying desperately to come to some sense of coherence or some sense of clarity, but they have no idea really who they are on a deep existential level. They have no idea why they're there, or how long they will be there. They've been waiting for Godot for so long that they've kind of forgotten why they started waiting for him in the first place. They've invested so much of themselves in this waiting that they've kind of become unable to stop waiting. They've become so unable to view themselves outside the prism of this long, extended process of waiting. They are trapped inside their own minds. Now, I do not want to be overly melodramatic and say that my situation as some dude who makes videos on the internet is similar to that, but it is a play I've been thinking about quite a lot over the past 2 years, as the wait for Season 4 has stretched far past even this pandemic that disrupted so much of our lives in 2020 and parts of 2021. The wait has taken on a character all of its own. As I posted on Twitter a while back, the time between when the show was first announced and when Season 3 was released is significantly shorter than the time we have been waiting for Season 4 since Season 3 was released. After so much time spent waiting, you kind of lose the sense that time is a linear progression, that with every passing day, there is a change. There is a sense of progress. There is a sense of movement forward. The days go by, sunrise, sunset, but little actually changes or even give signs of changing. The last significant bit of Dragon Prince media that we got was when Through the Moon was released, and that was great, if a little short, and that was all the way back last October, about a whole year ago. Now, not to make this all about me, but the stalling out of the Dragon Prince franchise has made me think a lot about the future of my channel. The rise of my channel very much coincided with the rise of the Dragon Prince as a franchise that people care about and pay attention to. And my channel has been left kind of rudderless in the last couple of years as the Dragon Prince and also Avatar, the other show I did a lot of videos about, as those two shows have just given us very little new information. The first video I actually made speculating about Season 4 of The Dragon Prince, what it would be like, when it would come out, that came out in early December, I believe, or about 22 months ago. I just turned 20 then, and now I am 22. I've spent a good 2 years of my life making videos about the future of a show that shows no signs of coming out in the immediate future. That is kind of existentially terrifying, I must admit. Now, I sincerely hope that Season 4 of The Dragon Prince does release somewhat soon, and logistically, I think there is reason to believe that could be the case. I've been watching a lot of Amphibia as of late. The show's just come back. Watch it if you haven't, it's quite good. And the showrunner was talking about how the first episode of the third season of that show, which just came out last week, was something they had been working on since before the pandemic started. Like, everything after writing the initial script occurred in the early stages of the pandemic. Again, that's a long time. I talked about something similar in regards to the Owl House in one of my previous Dragon Prince videos. Since shows do take that long to make, from beginning to end, and since it does seem like production of the show had to come to a screeching halt when Netflix didn't renew the show, it certainly seems like maybe a year and a half from when they renewed the show formally back in summer 2020 could be a reasonable time frame. That would give us somewhere between very, very late 2021, like December of this year, or maybe January, February, March of 2022. But at this point, I've been waiting for so long that I've kind of stopped really believing in my own predictions. I do think the show is going to come out eventually. I don't know why it wouldn't, but at this point, when it comes out, it'll come out. The best I can offer regarding when that will be are just these semi-random guesses based on other points of context. For all I know, the live-action remake of Avatar: The Last Airbender, which will only start filming in November and has seen a lot of hiccups up to this point, maybe that will end up coming out before The Dragon Prince. Who knows? What I do know, however, is that the show has meant a lot to a lot of people. That's why people keep coming back. That's why I keep making these videos. And that's why I'll keep watching them. Even after this very long gap, The Dragon Prince still continues to hold quite an allure for a lot of people, and I hope that when the show finally does come back, it delivers on that promise. I, for one, have been looking back a lot of my old prediction videos, and I wonder what value those videos actually have. They're videos in which I speculate and make predictions that, through no real fault of my own, did not turn out to be true. I was not lying, I was not giving a skewed perspective, I was not engaging in clickbait. I was looking sincerely at the information we had at the time and making my estimates. I think there's value in that, and I think those videos are valuable in how they serve as a sort of journal for my mental health during the pandemic time, and I think there is some good and astute observations in a lot of those videos, not just about the Dragon Prince or about the television media climate, but about art and philosophy and how we go about our days. So I don't think those videos are completely worthless, but I do wish we had received a little bit more in terms of information about the future of the show. Just a little bit. If you were a teenager when you started watching The Dragon Prince, you're probably an adult now, and being an adult brings about a certain set of responsibilities that you need to fulfill that weren't there when you were a teenager. The self isn't constant, as Virginia Woolf and William James astutely demonstrate. It's ever shifting, with the the passage of time and our differing experiences. The old question of, like, can people change is kind of silly, because people are always changing. Even when we don't want to change, we always are, and we have to take that into account. And I think that's a big reason why so many people love trying to recapture the sense of who we used to be. That sense of what is kind of vulgarly called nostalgia. Just going back to all the art and stories that we loved when we were younger. Now, for a lot of shows, that means watching the shows we loved when we were kids that had finished a long time ago, but for a show like this, it's kind of weird, where the show is not even over yet, and yet a lot of the previous seasons might be nostalgic for some people at this point, which is kind of strange. Now, I do not want to come across as being callous or unconsiderate to the storyboarders or the showrunners or anyone who's working on the show. I'm sure that everyone is working as hard as they can. That typically is the case. Storyboarders and animators and color designers and writers and revisionists, none of these people are lazy. They're just in a very tough industry that does not always provide immediate results. All I'm saying is that it's a real testament to how intimately the show has captured our attention that we're still waiting for it after all that time. Make of that what you will. I hope the show comes out soon, although it might not come out at the very least for another 5 or 6 months. So thank you all for watching. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Donate to my Patreon if you can and you want to see more videos like this. Keep watching The Dragon Prince. I know I might have come off a little overly negative here, but don't worry about me, really. I know in a lot of my other Dragon Prince videos I seemed a little melancholic, to say the least, but I'm in a much better state mentally now. I'm doing quite well. I just really do wish the show would come out. It's been quite a bit of time. But if it does, it does. If it doesn't, well, I guess we'll see. So anyway, tune in soon for my next analysis. It will be coming soon. Thank you all again. Adios, comrades.